Hello Year 2, how are you? And welcome to today's English lesson. Now in our English lesson yesterday, we looked at adverbs of time, didn't we? And we used them to help us sequence Florence Nightingale's journey to Scutari and what happened as well when she arrived. Now today we're going to be looking at expanded noun phrases again, like we did for our bubble story, but this time we're going to be using them to describe the locations on Florence Nightingale's journey, and in particular, the hospital in Scutari when she first arrived. So by the end of the lesson, you will have written down lots of nouns, lots of adjectives, and lots of expanded noun phrases that you can then use in your own writing, because at the end of this unit of work, you're going to be writing a letter from Florence Nightingale to her family back home, telling them about her journey to Scutari and what the hospital was like when she first arrived. Now, before we start, I want to just check you can remember how to form an expanded noun phrase. So here is a picture. In your picture, you can see a flower and some butterflies. So what I'd like you to do is create 2 expanded noun phrases for this picture. So could you pause the video now and have a go at this for me? Okay, Year 2. So did you manage to write 2 expanded noun phrases? Fantastic, well done. Well, let's have a look at the picture together. The first thing I saw when I looked at the picture was some butterflies. Can you see them? So I wanted to write an expanded noun phrase for those butterflies. And I came up with lots of fluttering, delicate butterflies. So look, I've got my determiner, lots of. I've got my 2 adjectives, fluttering and delicate, and they're separated by a comma. And then I have my noun, which is what I could see, butterflies. Now, butterflies weren't the only thing I could see in the picture. I could also see that flower. Can you see it too? Well, I wanted to create an expanded noun phrase for that. And I came up with the colourful, blossoming flower. Can you see I've got my determiner, the, and I've got my 2 adjectives, colourful and blossoming, and they're separated by a comma. And then I've got my noun, so what I could see in the picture, which was the flower. Okay, did you think of some similar expanded noun phrases? Well done. And if you thought of some other ideas, that is also excellent. Now, did you remember all the parts? So let's recap on the different parts. So we have the determiner to start. So that's lots of, the, an or a, many, most, or a number like 3, or lots of like we've got here. And then you need your 2 adjectives. So in my expanded noun phrase for the butterflies, I had fluttering and delicate. So yes, I've definitely got 2. And they need to be separated by a comma. And then at the end, you need your noun. So in my expanded noun phrases, I had butterflies as one noun and flower as the other in my next one. So what I'd like you to do, now we've recapped on all the parts of an expanded noun phrase, could you have a look at the 2 expanded noun phrases you've just written and have a look, have you included all the parts? Pause the video now and have a look for me. Okay, Year 2, so let's move on to today's lesson. Well, I said we were going to be writing expanded noun phrases for the hospital when Florence Nightingale first arrived in Scutari. Well, I don't want to jump straight to expanded noun phrases. I'd like to do it in little steps. So we're going to start with the nouns, and we're going to think of what Florence Nightingale might have seen, what she might have heard, what she might have tasted, smelt, and touched. So we're going to look at sight together, what she might have seen. Well, let's have a look at the picture. What's the first thing that you see when you look at the picture? Well, I see lots of people. Now, who were these people? Yes, that's right, they were soldiers. So she can see lots of soldiers. What else might she have seen? Yes, the floor. Remember how disgusting the floor was. So yes, she will have seen the floor, most definitely. What else? Well, just the room in general. When she walked in, she will have seen the whole room, won't she? Now, what might she have heard? Could you pause the video and have a think what she might have heard in this room when she arrived at the hospital? Okay, Year 2. So I thought she might have heard the soldiers, because they're probably very uncomfortable, aren't they? So they're probably screaming, and maybe they're in a lot of pain, okay, from their wounds. So you will have heard the soldiers. Now, did you think of a similar thing that they might have heard? Well done, fantastic. So we've got sight and we've got hearing. We did those 2 together. But as I said, you might have some different ideas for hearing and sight. And if you add those as well, that would be brilliant. What I'd like to do now is have a think of some nouns for taste, smell, and touch. Okay, so I'd like you to do this independently. What do you think Florence Nightingale might have tasted, smelt, and touched when she arrived at this hospital in Scutari? Pause the video now and have a think. Okay, year two. So have you got all of your nouns? Well, let me just quickly show you what nouns I thought of. So I thought of, for taste, the air. Was the air very nice? No, it wasn't, was it? So she will definitely notice that. She will have smelt the clothes. Remember, they were still in their clothes from when they were in the Crimean War. So they were very bloody and very smelly, probably. And then she will have touched the rats on the floor and the floor in general. Okay, so these are the ones I came up with. Well done if you came up with some other ones. That is brilliant. So here we go. We've got all of our nouns. Now, that comes at the end of an expanded noun phrase. What else do we need in our expanded noun phrases? You're right. We also need some adjectives. Now, let's have a look at our noun soldier and try and add some adjectives to this. Oh, and I also thought of doctors for sight as well. Can you see the doctor by the bed? So let's think of some adjectives that we can put with soldier. So here is our zone of relevance. Do you remember this from when we did it in class? So the green circle is the words that we could definitely use, the adjectives we could definitely use to describe the soldiers. Then we've got the orange, which we could describe the soldiers with these words, with these adjectives, but we can think of better adjectives to use. And then the red is words or adjectives that we definitely couldn't use to describe those soldiers. Okay, so let's have a look at the different words we've got. We've got wounded, healthy, poorly, disease-ridden, so full of disease, petrified, scared, homesick, so missing home, and happy. Now, let's go through these together. Well, wounded. Were the soldiers wounded? Well, yes, they definitely were, weren't they? They were wounded during the war. And we learnt that word in our history lesson, didn't we? So that's a very good word to use. So I'm going to put the word wounded in the green because we can definitely use that, and it's a good word, good adjective to describe the soldiers. It's a great adjective, in fact. Then we have the adjective healthy. Now, were these soldiers healthy? No, they weren't, were they? So that's definitely in the red because those soldiers definitely weren't healthy. Okay, what about poorly? Well, they were poorly, weren't they? Because they were spreading disease around the room because of the uncleaned wounds. So therefore they were poorly. But is that the best word, best adjective we can use to describe them? No, it's not, is it? I'm sure we can think of some better adjectives. So therefore that's going to go in our orange. We could use it, but we can think of more ambitious words. Then we have disease-ridden. Oh, now, poorly wasn't very good, but disease-ridden. Oh, what do you think about that word? That's a good word to describe them, isn't it? So therefore that can go in our green area. And then we've got petrified. Now, how do you think the soldiers feel? They don't really know what's going to happen to them, and they're not getting the best treatment at all, are they? Because they don't have the right medical supplies. So therefore, they're probably petrified, aren't they? So that can definitely go in our green as well, because they also don't have their family with them. So that's probably another reason why they're petrified. Then we've got scared. Now, scared is a synonym of petrified, isn't it? But it's not as ambitious. So we could use it, but we can definitely think of better words like petrified or terrified. So that's going to go in my green. And then we've got homesick. Now, that means that they're missing their home. Do you think these soldiers are missing home? Yes, I think they probably are too. So therefore, that can go in our green as well. That's a brilliant adjective to help describe the soldiers. And finally, we've got happy. Now, do you think these soldiers would have been happy? No, I don't think I would be happy if I was in a hospital like that. Definitely not. So that's going to go in our red. So there you go. In our red, we've got the adjectives healthy and happy. In the orange, we've got scared and poorly. And in the green, we've got wounded, homesick, disease-ridden, and petrified.